Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sibeth NDIAYE. I'm delighted to be here with you today. I have to say that I was quite surprised when I was asked to speak here and to talk about metamorphosis. Very surprised because I didn't necessarily see what I'd done in my previous roles as the government spokesman and what I'm doing currently. I didn't really see if this would be of interest, and also to talk to you about metamorphosis today. But then when I came to reflect, I agreed to come because at some level I'm convinced that what moves societies and what moves me is metamorphosis. Why? Why do I say that? If we live in cities now, or major urban centres, it's because the hunter-gatherers became farmers, and they became more sedentary, and so that was an important metamorphosis. And it's these ancestors who've allowed us to live the lives that we lead. At the end of the day, my conviction is that this metamorphosis cannot be separated out from the history of humanity and the history of our societies at large. And at different levels and for different reasons, we each experience metamorphosis on a continual basis. What forces me to change and makes me desire change is first because I need to combat boredom. If I've been in something for too long, at a given time, there's a need that rises within me. I need to change something. It's a form of struggle, a struggle against what seems excessively monotone or identical. And I believe on a profound level that there's no path that you can take. There's always something linear. There's always some connection or a path there. It's not always about a straight line. It's not working on the same things all the time. There's always this quest or search for metamorphosis, and it's something that's been there in my life. It's in a vector that's brought me joy, and it's enabled me to look at the stages of my life and to look back at them with pleasure. How is this metamorphosis possible for all of us? The driver or the fuel for me is creativity. If you look at the world around you, and you think the world to be changed, to change it, you need to be creative. This driver for the metamorphosis is creativity. It's that from which you derive the strength to create a different reality. My personal commitment to politics was to fight against inequality. So I looked around me. From a young age, I looked at the world around me, and it seemed that the world didn't work well. Things weren't in the right place. People grew up in a certain family or in a certain town, or I from the first of my life there. People didn't have the same opportunities as others. My first metamorphosis, that which drew me to politics, was first and foremost something to changing something that I wasn't working, twisting the reality around me. It was also a driver of optimism. Not all situations are set in stone. Change, including metamorphosis, is possible ultimately. Changing yourself and adapting to your circumstances is also a way of transforming society. To live metamorphosis, you need to be in a position to do so. One day, President of the Republic asked me to become a minister in Edouard Philippe's government. I said, yes, it will be for a certain time. It's clear. It's someone who appoints you and then takes the post away at the end. From the outset, I knew that it couldn't be or should be something I should get used to. One of my convictions is that if you exercise power for too long, you shouldn't really be there for too long. You need renewal in politics. Knowing myself, I know my limits. I was anticipating the metamorphosis ahead. I needed to imagine a time when I was no longer a minister. So I needed to imagine that from the time when I became a minister. So it's this certainty that has accompanied me throughout those months that I spent as a government spokesman. And it's also this conviction that led me to ask to leave the government after the first phase of the COVID crisis. And it's also led me to take some time to reflect before starting on something else. I knew another adventure would come, and of course it did. But I wanted to be convinced that I wouldn't be betraying myself by changing fields. And I would be undergoing another metamorphosis. There are things that make you particular, things that anchor you, things that make you different from your neighbour. Knowing what these were, they're important for me. This is Georges Brassens' song, Les Copains d'abord. I've chosen this song because any metamorphosis is only possible when you are confident about yourself and about others. I was lucky to have trust shown in me at various stages in my career, and it's this trust that's really fundamental. You need to ensure that this metamorphosis is something you desire and is a happy transformation. Thank you.
s'appelait l'école.